Good morning, everybody. Today is Saturday, February the 26th, and welcome to a brand new edition of the Kingdom Driven CEO. So before we jump into today's topic of leading ourselves, I want to kind of give you a little bit of background on why we have switched the name. As you know, we started out as the Purpose-Driven CEO, and I do believe very much in leading with purpose. I think that every organization needs a greater purpose. But what I have learned is that my greater purpose all leads back to God. And so you will notice that many of my teachings and the way that I lead and the culture we are trying to build is a kingdom culture, which really revolves around the King, which in my life and in our company is Jesus Christ. And so I felt like it was a little misleading to use the name Purpose-Driven CEO and then teach and talk based upon spiritual matters. And so that is why we are going forward, changing the name to the Kingdom-Driven CEO. So today we are going to talk about the concept of leading ourselves. And let me kind of relate this back to Kingdom-Driven CEO. You know, it takes a very strong leader to drive a kingdom culture throughout a company. But before you can do that, you have to be right yourself. And I go back to a quote that I heard one time from John Mackey. John Mackey is the CEO and founder of Whole Foods. And Whole Foods started out with one store around 1980. I think it was 1978 in Austin, Texas. And Whole Foods has now expanded to over 500 stores, 95,000 employees, and he is still the CEO. It's really, really remarkable. Well, in my executive coaching session that I was in, I heard John Mackey say, "As I go, so goes my business." And what he meant was, the better he was, the healthier he was, the more focused, organized, the clearer he was on his priorities, the better he felt and performed, the better his company did. And I can see that in an organization the size of Regent Bank, which is 170 people. But 95,000 people still move according to the leader, and he said, absolutely yes, there is no question. So what I wanted to teach on today was some thoughts around how we can better lead ourselves. And then once we can get ourselves right, then we can take the bold, courageous step to create a kingdom culture within our organization. So first and foremost, let's go back to an earlier teaching we did, and I just briefly want to talk about the battle of the mind and starting the day off right. So I believe that every one of us, every day, faces a battle for our mind. I believe that Satan wants to pull us over to anxiety, fear, ego, greed. And I believe that Jesus wants to pull us to the fruits of the Spirit, peace, love, joy, etc. So the question is, which of these are we going to choose? Well, I think that a very important point here is we have to start our days off the right way. First of all, the first thought that I have when my foot hits the door is gratitude to God that I can get up and walk and have health. And the second thought I have is I choose Him. I am not going to, I rebuke Satan. I rebuke any kind of thoughts of fear or anxiety that come into my mind for that day. And then I start a morning routine. And I'm going to give you the very quick version here. I always start off with 45 minutes of exercise, 30 minutes of cardio, 15 minutes of weights. After that exercise, I move into a time of reflection where I have a devotional. I use Jesus Calling. I really like it. list 3 things that I am grateful for, 3 gratitudes three new things that I am grateful for each day. Gratitude is very powerful. I go through a period of forgiveness. Is there anybody that I'm harboring ill will against that I need to forgive and cleanse my spirit so that God can work within me? I have a period of praying about my higher calling. What is the highest calling that Jesus wants for me in my life? What is my highest purpose here on earth? And then I think through the day. I develop my top 5 priorities, the things I've got to get done. I look at my schedule, I visualize the perfect day, and then I close my reflection time with a time of prayer, and I maintain a prayer list on an ongoing basis. One of the things I should mention is in the cardio, during the 30 minutes of cardio, I always listen to the Bible. And I really think that if you will actually just listen to or read the Bible instead of just listening to sermons or books about the Bible, you'll be amazed at what you will learn. I am amazed at what I didn't know each time I listen to or read the Bible. Then I wrap up my morning with some type of learning. So I spend 15 minutes either listening to a podcast or, reading a book, reading articles, something that will help me to grow and learn, not just current events, but something that will actually give me a new skill. It's a very, very cool way to start the day. Then I think it's also important, in addition to starting the day off right, that we have a few foundational mindsets that we commit to. One is the abundance mentality. You guys know I wrote a book with my buddy Mick Skuvanek about the abundance mentality, and it is basically going into every interaction, committing to do what's best for the other person, even if it does not benefit you. So what this does is if I go into a call with a new potential bank client and I am pure in my motives, I just want to help them get to where they want to go, maybe that solution isn't me. Maybe there are better solutions out there, elsewhere for them, and I am honest with them about that. And when I do that, it is magical. People realize you have a pure motive. They want to work with you. They want their family and friends to work with you. And it does lead to abundance when you're really just being pure and generous in your motives. And number 2, always know that all we can do is give our best effort every day. This is one that releases the pressure valve. You can't control everything. You can't control, right now, Russia's invading Ukraine. We can't control that. We can pray for them, but there's not a whole lot we can do to help. What we can do, though, today is our very best at everything that we do. And, no matter whether there are layoffs, unemployment, interest rates go up, all those types of things, don't focus on those. Focus on what you can control and give your best effort. Always put first things first. So prioritize well at work, but also prioritize your family. Make sure that, we keep the most important things. Succeed or learn. Always know that there is no such thing as failure unless you quit. Otherwise, it is just learning. So just like when we learned to walk, we would fall down. We didn't stop trying to walk. We just learned from that and began to adjust, and we ultimately learned to walk and even run better. Now, so those are some mindset foundations that I just wanted to share with you today. Let's move into some quick discussion around time management. I just want to share some ideas with you because when we're leading ourselves, we have to manage our time well. First and foremost, I think it's important to have weekly planning sessions where you block time on your calendar for key priorities. So I sit down Sunday evenings, really think through, look at my to-do list, think about, honestly pray about what are the things I need to focus on this week, and then I block those big rocks off on my calendar to make sure that I get them done. I have no meetings before 10 a.m. because I work the best in the morning. I am the most focused. That's why I do this podcast in the morning, is because I think more clearly, I'm more creative, and so focusing on energy management. When you're the best, Don't clog it up with a bunch of meetings. Use it for focused work, whatever is most important to you. 2-hour living. Every 2 hours, I stop and take a 10 to 15 minute break. The reason I do is because it's been proven that we are really meant to be sprinters, not marathon runners. And so we were designed to go out and bring back, the hunt or berries back in our early civilization. We went out, worked really, really hard, came back and rested. And that's how we are designed as well. So if you will do this for 10 or 15 minutes, I pray, I read, I have a snack, I might walk around and see my team, see how they're doing, but I try to get away from work, and it keeps your energy and your focus high. Never waste a lunch. We're all struggling with time. We all have to eat lunch, so I recommend always using a lunch for an important purpose. It might be a VIP, it might be a good prospect, it might be your direct reports, it might be your spouse, but always use lunch. Never ever waste a lunch. I want to recommend youmail.com, youmail.com. This is a service that converts voicemails into text and ultimately into an email to you, and it keeps a good record of who has called you and what they need, but it also allows you to forward that around in case somebody else can help that person. I always write a handwritten note every day. It takes about 2 minutes, and it changes people's lives. People think I have a terminal illness because they've gotten one of my handwritten notes, and I've had people say they're going to frame them because they mean so much to them. So 2 minutes a day can really change people's lives. No work or phone after 6:30. This is part of keeping first things first, making sure that your family is most important and you're not working all night when you need to be spending time with your family. And then finally, attention management, realizing that we can only do one thing at a time. Multitasking is a myth, and it's basically the equivalent psychologically of smoking marijuana or staying up all night. That's how effective we are at multitasking. Always be in the market. Try not to spend too much time in your office. That's not where you learn. That's not where you're effective. And outsource as many things as you can so that you can focus on what is most important. Finally, the last thing I would share today is I'm a big believer in an executive assistant because it allows you to do things that are higher value. And at the end of the day, it's all about what is the highest and best use of your time. My assistant, Shelly, is the best in the world, and she handles all of my incoming calls, mail, and email. She handles all of my scheduling. She handles daily projects for me. I look at my to-do list. If she can do it, I ask her to do it. She handles my expense reports, time cards, approvals for my team, gives me the pulse of the company. She helps me with event management. She helps me set up recurring meetings with like VIPs. I just give her a list of our top clients and say, hey, I need to get these folks on the calendar once a quarter, and she handles all that. She coordinates all meetings for me. And so it is a huge, huge time saver. Everybody always asks me, how do you do all the things that you do? And it's because I have a clone. There's basically two of us working on the same stuff all the time. So I'm a huge, huge fan of a very strong executive assistant or chief of staff. So I hope that this was helpful to you as we try to lead ourselves. Next time we're going to talk about leading others, but you really can't do that until we learn to lead ourselves first. So I hope you have a great rest of your weekend. Thank you so much for tuning in to this actually very first edition ever of the Kingdom Driven CEO. Thank you and have a great day.